As the days passed, Sookee found herself increasingly entangled in a web of deceit and desire. Her feelings for Hideko had grown beyond mere pretense, stirring a conflicted turmoil within her. Fujiwara's plan, once a calculated scheme, now felt like a sinister trap closing in around her. Sookee's heart wavered with every stolen glance, every whispered word shared between her and Hideko. She struggled to maintain the facade of loyalty to Fujiwara, even as doubt gnawed at her from within. Was she truly capable of deceiving the woman she had come to care for? Meanwhile, Hideko's world began to unravel as she stumbled upon fragments of truth buried beneath layers of deception. Suspicion crept into her mind like a shadow, whispering of betrayal and deceit. She sensed the distance growing between herself and Sookee, a gaping chasm forged by secrets and lies. One fateful night, the truth came crashing down upon Hideko like a torrential storm. She stumbled upon Fujiwara and Sookee locked in a clandestine embrace, their faces illuminated by the flickering candlelight. Shock and betrayal warred within her as the pieces of the puzzle fell into place. In a whirlwind of emotions, Hideko confronted Sookee, her voice trembling with hurt and anger. The air crackled with tension as accusations flew like daggers, each word carving deeper wounds into their already fractured relationship. Sookee stood frozen, torn between loyalty to Fujiwara and the burgeoning love she harbored for Hideko. But amidst the chaos, a glimmer of realization dawned upon Hideko. Beneath the layers of deceit and manipulation, she saw Sookee's true essence, a woman torn between duty and desire, trapped in a game she never wished to play. With a heavy heart, Hideko made her decision. She would not be a pawn in Fujiwara's twisted game any longer. Turning her back on the betrayers before her, she disappeared into the night, leaving behind the shattered remnants of their once fragile bond. And so, in the darkness of betrayal and doubt, three souls stood at the crossroads of fate, their paths diverging with each passing moment. The Handmaiden's tale had taken a sinister turn, leaving behind a trail of broken hearts and shattered illusions in its wake. As autumn deepens, casting long shadows over the Kouzuki mansion, the true horrors of Hideko's past and the chilling nature of her entanglement with the enigmatic Kouzuki are unveiled. This chapter peels back the layers of deception that have shrouded the mansion in mystery. Hideko, once thought to be merely the sheltered niece of the wealthy and powerful Lord Kouzuki, is revealed to have been central to darker, more sinister family secrets. Born into a lineage steeped in the occult, Hideko was not only the heir to Kouzuki's fortune but also to his role as the leader of a clandestine cult that practiced ancient and forbidden rituals. Her childhood was marred by eerie ceremonies and the unnerving presence of masked figures who would gather at the mansion under the cloak of night. These experiences shaped Hideko into a woman of complex facets, fragile yet fierce, ensnared by her past yet desperate for freedom. Meanwhile, Sookee's true identity comes to light. She is not just a simple handmaiden but Tamako, a skilled pickpocket and con artist. Recruited by Hideko's estranged aunt, who seeks to overthrow Kouzuki and seize his wealth. Tamako was sent to the mansion to gain Hideko's trust and steal her secrets. Tamako's initial mission was clear: inveigle herself into Hideko's confidences, learn the whereabouts of a mythical artifact said to bestow unimaginable power, and pave the way for her aunt's ascent. However, as she delves deeper into Hideko's world, her allegiance begins to waver. Moved by Hideko's plight and disillusioned by her aunt's ruthlessness, Tamako finds herself caught between deception and a growing urge to protect Hideko. As the Festival of the Dead approaches, a night when the veil between worlds is thinnest, Kouzuki plans a grand ceremony intended to culminate in the activation of the mythical artifact. Hideko and Tamako, each aware of the other's true intentions but bonded by a mutual desire for liberation, conspire to disrupt the ritual. Their plan is fraught with risks, including the possibility of invoking the wrath of something truly supernatural. The chapter reaches its climax as they navigate the shadowy corridors and secret passages of the mansion, dodging cult members and supernatural occurrences. In the heart of the mansion's oldest wing, they discover the artifact, an ancient mirror, rumored to be a portal to other dimensions. As Kouzuki begins the incantation to activate the mirror, Hideko and Tamako intervene, resulting in a chaotic confrontation that unleashes spectral forces. The artifact shatters, releasing a torrent of spectral energy that sweeps through the mansion. Kouzuki, consumed by his own unleashed horrors, meets a grisly end. As the mansion crumbles around them, Hideko and Tamako flee into the night. The mansion's destruction erasing their pasts but leaving their futures uncertain. Unraveling Secrets ends with Hideko and Tamako watching from a distance as the mansion burns, symbolizing both an end and a new beginning. Though they have escaped the physical confines of their former lives, the scars of their past and the shadows of the unknown loom large as they venture into the world. Bound together by shared secrets and a newfound resolve to forge their own destinies. As dawn broke over the Kouzuki estate, Hideko felt the weight of her impending confrontation with Kouzuki heavier than the air before a storm. Years of manipulation and abuse had led to this moment, and she could no longer live under the shadow of his oppressive presence. The house was silent, save for the distant caw of crows. Hideko made her way through the dim corridors, each step echoing against the polished wood, her resolve hardening with every breath. Sookee, her confidant and now her partner in both spirit and scheme, followed closely behind, her presence a silent pillar of support. Reaching the ornate doors of Kouzuki's private study, Hideko paused. Her hand trembled slightly as she grasped the handle, not from fear but from a surge of adrenaline. She was ready to end this chapter of her life. She pushed the doors open. Kouzuki sat behind his grand desk, an imposing figure surrounded by a fortress of ancient books and artifacts. His eyes, sharp and discerning, fixed on Hideko as she entered. Hideko, to what do I owe this unexpected displeasure? His voice, though calm, carried an undercurrent of danger. Hideko's voice was steady. I am no longer your puppet. Today, this ends. Kouzuki laughed, a chilling sound that did not reach his eyes. You think you have a choice here. I always had a choice, just not the courage. But now, I'm taking back my life, Hideko replied, her confidence growing. Kouzuki stood, his height imposing as he approached her. You belong to me. Everything you are and will be is mine to command. No, Hideko said, her voice breaking the charged silence that followed. I am my own. As Kouzuki advanced towards her, Hideko could see the madness that had consumed him. The delusion of ownership over her life and body. She knew what she had to do. Quick as a flash, Sookee threw Hideko a small, ornate dagger, a relic of her own troubled past and their shared resolve to fight back. Kouzuki, noticing too late, reached out to stop Hideko, but she was swifter. With a cry that seemed to draw on the pain of years, Hideko drove the dagger into Kouzuki's heart. He looked at her, shock and betrayal etched onto his features as he stumbled back, collapsing into a heap on the floor. Silence returned to the room, heavy and absolute, save for the ragged breaths of the two women standing amidst the shambles of their tormentor's tyranny. It's over, Sookee whispered, moving to Hideko's side, her hand reaching out to steady her. Hideko nodded, the gravity of her actions settling in, but so too did a sense of unburdening freedom. She turned to Sookee, her eyes clear for the first time in years. Let's leave this place. Together. Together, they left the estate, the early morning sun breaking over the horizon, casting long shadows behind them, shadows that would no longer dictate their destiny. They walked into a new day, a new life built not on the ashes of the past but on the promise of a shared future. And so, Hideko and Sookee began anew, far from the dark halls of the Kouzuki estate, where the only remnants of their past lives were the memories they chose to carry forward, and the unspoken bond that had grown between them, a bond not of sorrow, but of survival, and ultimately, of hope. After the tumultuous events that exposed the dark, deceitful schemes surrounding them, Sookee and Hideko find themselves aboard a ship departing from their homeland. As the shoreline fades into the distance, so does their past life of betrayal and manipulation. The first days of their voyage are filled with silence, each woman processing the weight of their previous lives. Slowly, through shared glances and tentative conversations, their bond begins to reform, stronger and more genuine than ever. Sookee, who had initially entered Hideko's life as part of a con, now sees in Hideko not just a victim or a prize to be won, but a fellow survivor, strong, intelligent, and worth more than the sum of her inheritance. Hideko, on the other hand, initially shaken by the revelation of Sookee's initial intentions, begins to see the sincerity in Sookee's remorse and the truth in her actions that followed. The realization that their love could be real ignites a spark of hope in her heart. As the ship docks in a bustling port city, new and vibrant with opportunity, Sookee and Hideko step off the boat not as con artist and victim, but as partners. They find a small, cozy apartment where the windows let in the morning sun, symbolizing their new beginning. Each day, they explore their new world together, learning foreign languages, sampling local cuisines, and, most importantly, relearning how to trust, in each other and in the world around them. The community they build is diverse, filled with people from all walks of life, each with their own stories of hardship and recovery. These new friendships reinforce to Sookee and Hideko that while their pasts are marked by pain, their futures do not have to be. They engage in local art and culture, finding solace in expressions that transcend verbal language, music, painting, and dance. Over time, Sookee starts a small business using the skills she honed in her former life in a positive way, becoming a sought-after personal advisor for people wanting to reinvent themselves or escape their past lives. Hideko, finding a passion for literature free from the corrupt influence of her uncle, opens a small bookstore and reading nook, creating a safe space for others to find escape and education through stories. Their nights are spent recounting their day to each other, filled with laughter and learning. As the seasons change, so do they, no longer bound by fear or guilt, but propelled by love and mutual respect. Years later, they stand on a beach, watching another sunset, much like the one they watched when they first left their old lives behind. They reflect on all that has happened, the pain they've overcome, and the joy they've built from the ashes of their former selves. Hand in hand, they realized that redemption was not a place they were sailing to, but something they were building together, day by day.